something more than being healed from leprosy happens to Naaman the Syrian in that first reading and the unnamed foreign leper in the gospel. The healing is the beginning. It's what they thought they wanted, but unexpectedly something else happened. Something much more dramatic. For Naaman, this change shows itself in his desire to take 2 mule loads of earth from Israel to Syria. And in the gospel, it shows itself in the fact that this cleansed leper doesn't go to the priests in the temple, but he returns to Jesus. They're saying something. That what they used to consider valuable and important, that the gods they used to worship no longer have the attraction they once had, because now they have discovered something greater, something inside has changed more than the change that has happened on the outside. Conversion is what we would call it, but conversion sounds like a boring church word. It's like a math problem more than a life-changing event. It would be better to say that they were overpowered by the goodness of God to them. They were overwhelmed, shaken to life, mind blown to the point of desiring nothing more than a relationship with the one who healed them. And this is why they can't go back. They can't go back to the way they were living before. They can't possibly go back to loving what they loved before or living the way that they lived before, because something has dramatically changed for them. Not just the healing of a disease, but the reawakening of a desire in their hearts for something more. You know, just today I had a baptism this afternoon, and the parents brought the child into church, and they took him out of the car seat, months-old child, and they took him out, and as soon as they lifted him up and they turned him towards the sanctuary of church, his eyes just lit up. And he got this huge smile on his face, and for the entirety of the baptism, until I poured the cold water on his head and he started crying, for the rest of the baptism, literally, he was overwhelmed by this space. Overwhelmed. He was in awe of this space, in awe of the presence of God. Yesterday, I'd finished at the office, and I was in my house, and I was catching up on some shows that I missed during the convocation. And I was sitting there, and I thought I should really pray evening prayer, like it's time to pray. And I thought to myself, but I don't want to pray. Like I'm comfortable here watching television. But then, I dragged myself out of my chair, and I came over here to the Blessed Sacrament Chapel. And I sat there, and as soon as I walked in the door, there was this overwhelming sense of joy because of being in the presence of God. I don't know if this has ever happened to you, and I don't mean if it's ever happened to you that you once had leprosy and then got healed, or if it ever happened to you that you walked into a space and you were overwhelmed. But I mean, have we ever been bowled over by the Lord to the point of desiring nothing more than a relationship with Him? Has this ever happened to us, where we have been completely overwhelmed by the goodness of God to us? Where we've been completely surprised by God's beauty, that we've been caught up in this sense of being so loved and cared for by the tenderness of God. Because friends, this is why the church exists, to bring us into this profound encounter with Jesus Christ that changes not our religious practices, not the way we pray, not the way that we spend time with our friends, but everything. Have we had this kind of moment with the Lord that says to us, everything is now different? Everything has changed because I have met the Lord, the King of the universe, the one who has made everything, the one who even now holds me in existence. That kind of moment that demands a change in our lives. I'll tell you that this past week, when we were on our priest convocation, I was praying for this kind of moment for all of us, to meet the Lord in such a profound way that to go back to living the way that we were living before seems unimaginable. So that sin becomes not just unattractive but repulsive. So that charity to the poor becomes more interesting than accumulating wealth. So that spending time with God in prayer is no longer something that we think of as optional, but essential to our daily living. This is the kind of life that we are called to. It is to do what Naaman did, to take up the earth from this place where we encounter God, and to take that earth wherever we go. Not literally, don't come up and steal a mum from the sanctuary, but everywhere we go, that this ground on which we stand now, this holy ground, might be placed in our homes and in our schools and in our places of work, so that everywhere we go, we desire to worship the Lord, to give praise to the Lord for what he has done for us. This is what we're made for. And in fact, at the very same time, this, I think, is the thing that we are most afraid of. Because we don't want life to change that much. We kind of like the way things are. And so rather than putting ourselves in front of the Lord and asking God to overwhelm us or to show us his power, so often we settle for something less. Just getting by. And by settling for something less, we cling to our other gods. Gods of power, gods of pleasure, gods of entertainment. This is what the other 9 lepers did, that went to the priests in the temple, showed themselves to the priests, and were reunited with their family and friends, and life went on. But nothing changed on the inside for them. We are being invited to give our lives to Christ. There's no middle ground. To allow him in a radical way to be the Lord of our lives. Because no one loves us like he loves us. No one offers us what Christ offers us. No one can take us to the place that Christ can take us to. No one. There is no other power in this world that has the ability to do that. He wants to give us everything. Everything. Things that we can't possibly give ourselves. And it means that we have to begin by saying yes. It means that we leave this church and we don't walk away from him, but we walk toward him where he's waiting for us in our everyday lives. Let's ask the Lord to show himself to us clearly in his power, in his tenderness for us, in his great mercy that he just desperately longs to show us every single day. Friends, really, let's beg the Lord to awaken us to the power of his presence, so that more than anything else in this world, we will desire him.